right, so let's talk about who else I pissed off. Oh, I pissed off Houston. People in Houston is mad as hell at me. First off, y'all got to stop being so. Actually, you don't got to stop being so sensitive because, frankly, your sensitivities is what I play on the drive engagement. Let's be real. All right, that's the method. Play on human beings' fragility, sensitivity, low self-value, low self-worth, low sense of self. That's what triggers people. People are insecure. This is why they get triggered. This is why they're so sensitive. They are insecure. Not in every single instance, but in many instances. Again, not in every instance. Just because somebody gets triggered is not necessarily indicative of insecurity. So let me not oversimplify what triggers people and rage-based people. Let me not do that. But a lot of times, people are sensitive because they're insecure, because their identity is fragile, and because too much of their identity is rooted in the thing that's being poked at. That's a lot too, right? Like some people's whole identity is they're a Cowboys fan, or they're a Raiders fan, or the city that they come from, or the skin color they are, or like certain people's whole identity is just that. Right? I got what I got on Pirates hat today. It's people out there, their whole identity is the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Pittsburgh Penguins. That is who they are. They are nothing else. Some people, right? And if you say something, if you poke fun even, they're so sensitive about that and fragile about that because their identity is so incumbent upon that they just react aggressively because they feel such a threat through simple words, through a simple joke, a simple jab. Frankly, I pity people who are like that. I pity them. Cause why the hell are you so sensitive? Right? I remember I was with somebody one night, an ex-associate. It was three of us, right? One light skinned dude like myself, mixed. Brown skinned dude. Sister come out, boom, she crack on him. Oh, you like? He was so offended at her cracking on him for being light skinned. I just laughed. I understand that's how it go. It really bothered him all night. And I really had to have a conversation with him and tell him, listen, bro, like she didn't even mean it like that, bro. You feel me? It's good, but certain people they get hurt, they're fragile, their identity is fragile. Right? So I triggered the people from Houston. Right? So let me play this. I'm gonna explain this whole clip now from Houston. Hold on. Everybody about to run their ass back to Atlanta. All them clubs in Houston closing. Where y'all gonna be running y'all ass back to? Right back to Atlanta. Y'all ain't slick. What y'all thought? What you thought? You weren't gonna have to come back to Atlanta? Oh, you have to come back your ass to Atlanta, nigga. You feel me? Y'all done forgot. Y'all done went to Houston, man, and had a little fun and forgot, man, that this is the crib. This the home of this shit, man. Okay? It's the Mecca. You done went to Medina and forgot about Mecca. Come back home. Come your ass back home. Right now, there's been news all over the gram. It's a prominent club in Houston has been closed. Camp, right? Camp. Now, some people act like this ain't a big deal, but shit, every time I hear about him, I'm always talking about camp, steady camp, Houston, years. Camp. Okay? An address. That's not a good sign. Now, it might mean nothing. Don't get it twisted. That might not mean shit, but it might be something. Okay? And there are dynamics with the compare and contrast of Houston and Atlanta that a lot of people don't understand, right? I spoke to this on my story, but I have to. It's worth some real diving off into. Some people don't understand the dynamic of Houston and Atlanta for real, and the true differences. A lot of people are hypnotized by hype, right? We understand it. People are hypnotized by hype trains. People love hype. They love to follow the crowd, right? There was a long period of time where coming to Atlanta, moving to Atlanta was the thing to do, right? I heard of people moving to Atlanta really early 2000s. People from the Bay Area, all that, they was coming and moving to Atlanta early 2000s. Picked up again in the 2010s. When I first wanted to move to Atlanta, before I even ever came to Atlanta, was probably 2009, 2010. I wanted to move to Atlanta, right? I don't end up visiting until 2017, moving in 2019. But that whole time from the early 2000s all the way up to about 2023. So let's just give it a 20-year run. People wanted to move to Atlanta. People from the West Coast. Matter of fact, it's earlier than that. You know how long niggas been moving to Atlanta? Since Kane and O-Dog. Where was Kane about to move? He was about to move to Atlanta. Right or wrong? He was gonna move to Atlanta. Right? So I gotta go back to the 90s. I go back to Too Short. I go back to Freak Nick. I go back to niggas being moving to Atlanta. Atlanta had a 30-year run of people wanting to move here. 30 years of it being the number one destination for black people to move. I'll say that about 3 years ago in 2023, Houston took that spot. Houston took the spot. That's what I was referring to. Everybody moved to Houston. The nightlife in Houston just was more invigorated. Atlanta went through a maturation. I could just say this. People talk about the old Atlanta. I only seen videos of the old Atlanta, right? I remember, and what made me want to move to Atlanta was that wave, that Roscoe Dash, all the way turned up, seeing that and knowing people who was coming out here and shit like that. I'm like, damn, Atlanta. That was at that time, that was a new Atlanta. That's now an old Atlanta, because the Atlanta that existed when I moved here in 2019 was not that Atlanta, right? And in the Atlanta that exists right now in 2026 is not the Atlanta I moved to in 2019. These are different things. I watched Atlanta mature, right? And I'm gonna get into my metaphor, how I like to break this shit down. Because it's a way I like to break this shit down. It's a science to it. I watched Atlanta mature. What I mean by I watched Atlanta mature, I watched Atlanta go from a girl in her, you know, mid to late 20s into a girl in her early to mid 30s. Become professional, get a career. She still likes to turn up and have fun, but she's older now. She's growner now. You see what I'm saying? Houston is her little sister that's still in her mid 20s. That's still a YH, man. She's still young in terms. She's still really, really, really outside with less inhibition, or no less ambition, rather. She just want to have fun. Girls just, I be trying to tell them all the time, man, girls just want to have fun. You see what I'm saying? So Atlanta, that's what happened, the maturation of Atlanta. And there are some hallmark moments that are just gigantic statements for a real downward spiral of Atlanta nightlife. We're gonna have the closing of 1145, which ultimately spun into the closing of Zari, the Red Martini, you know, stuff like that. Because that right there, Zari, Red Martini, 1145 was such a nucleus of the Atlanta nightlife. Such a nucleus of the Atlanta nightlife. 1145 was like the premier club, right? Red Martini, R&B Wednesdays, Brian Michael Cox, that was the premier night, right? And you got to remember, it moved because initially R&B Wednesdays was at Medusa, at least when I came in 2019. I don't think anything. I'm gonna say this, right? From what I know, since R&B Wednesdays is at Flow now, right? I don't fuck with R&B Wednesday at Flow. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't fuck with it. I'm gonna explain. Uh, but I I heavily was an attendee of R&B Wednesday, hosted by It's Ladies Love R&B. That's what it's called. It's not just any R&B Wednesday because people have R&B nights all over the city. I'm talking about Ladies Love R&B, Brian Michael Cox, right? How it was at Medusa and how it was at Red Martini are two different, those are different eras of Ladies Love R&B. Two different eras. The vibration, the spirit, the everything of that night at those particular different venues are different, right? So I remember vividly, it was Medusa. R&B Wednesday, or Ladies Love R&B rather, Wednesday at Medusa. It was almost like a dream. That's almost the best way I can explain it. It was like a dream. It's a place where you can go where the ratio is 80%. I don't even want to say bad bitches. 80% amazing, beautiful, gorgeous women and 20% men. That's how it used to be. And Medusa wasn't hella big, but the decor of Medusa was just beautiful. And it just was like, wow. Listen, I ain't gotta just talk about it, nigga. I can show you, bitch ass nigga. This is why I have a whole highlights right here called Ladies Love R&B. I got a whole highlight called Ladies Love R&B on my Instagram. This is there. This began this whole thing. Now I've moved out of it, but this is at Medusa, right? It used to be so crazy, man. Now this is not at Medusa. This is when they did it, moved to Republic after Medusa when they were still looking for a home before they settled at Red Martini, right? Oh, nigga, whatever. Um, it was something else. It was it was a motion picture. Medusa was a motion picture. It was a motion picture. It was a motion picture. That's the best way I can describe it. It was a motion picture. Medusa was like an oasis. It was something out of a movie, a television show. A24 should have produced what we saw in Medusa, right? Then it went through a little awkward period. There, Republic, before Republic became Opium. That was T-Pain did that fire. Fire. Um, I just was talking about that earlier. T-Pain live is fire. Um, then it moved to Red Martini. When it moved to Red Martini, it became the premier night in Atlanta, undoubtedly, right? Like before, like Medusa, it felt more exclusive. If that makes sense, like it felt exclusive. Like, um, like if you know, you know, and this is like an elite party every week. When the Red Martini era of Ladies Love R&B was like exclusive, elite, but everybody was like the upper echelon people were there. So it felt less it felt elite still, but less exclusive, but still cracking. Great. Now it was like busting through the scenes, cracking every fuck. Like, listen, nigga, that shit used to be so crazy. Hold on, cuz this is the Republic. This ain't. Hold on. This is. What was this at? This was at they were doing something next door. This was Rocco had the club next door to Red Martini. I forget what they was calling that. This is Medusa? No, this ain't Medusa. This is Azul. This ain't Medusa, which is now Grits and Eggs. Another RIP. This is before Opium moved to where Republic's at. That's that spot downtown. This is VVS. Cause they do a Wednesday R&B and B, Wednesday at VVS. This is Red Martini, right? That Red Martini R&B Wednesday, nigga, are you kidding me? This is after it cleared out, but man, you used to be able to not even. Well, that's Zari. That's not Medusa. What's the shit? Luna, the Mayan. Hold on, that's Zari. I think that's 404. Where that's at? That's 1145. There's Memphis somewhere. Hold on. I think I got another. I got another clip of that's the bank. It's another clip I got of Red Martini. That's the Essence Fest. More here. Hold on, okay. 1145. What's that? That's 1145, right? Yeah. Uh-huh. That's Red Martini, right? Look at, listen. That's early in there. It's cracking. Are you kidding me? It's cracking. That's in Tampa. Where that's at? That's at Vanity. Okay, so yeah, so I don't think I got any. What do I got? I should have at least one more. Uh Nah, I ain't gonna have no more Red Martini. I think Red Martini had closed by then. Yeah, like a motherfucker. All right, so yeah, but when you got to Red Martini, Lady Love R&B, it just it was just epic as a motherfucker, right? Now the flow era to me is like the old nigga era. Like when I go in there, everybody's like 45 and over, with a few exceptions. I can't get down with the flow era. Ladies love R&B. I can't get down with it. But shout out to them. And from what I understand, they're still doing very well. Not for me anymore. Um, so Red Martini and like I said, 1145, and then by virtual 1145 Zari, like them motherfuckers closing. That kind of like, it's like a Smite the Shepherd and the Sheep Shall Scatter type of situation with Atlanta nightlife. It just like, and now kind of like, Revel is super premiere now. But a lot of people got older. We even have to take a look at what happened at 1145 that led to its closure, which was this was at a time where 1145 is letting 18-year-olds in. Let's start there. They're letting people 18 in the spot. And then there was a shooting and somebody ended up getting unalived. That made the city step in and take that, shut down that whole parking lot. That creates fear. You see what I'm saying? That creates fear. And now the older, growner, more professional, legitimate crowd doesn't want to hang out where the YNs are and the YBs, the YHs. Now there's a gulf, right? So now it kind of turns into people going to lounges, keeping it much more loungy. And then the youngins kind of filling up the clubs. And then, you got Revel, this raging, opium, you know what I'm saying? But like it's not the same. It's definitely not the same. So there's definitely been a downward spiral for the Atlanta nightlife. And in the midst of that, the Houston nightlife has thrived and become vibrant. And there's a lot of people who just came to Atlanta on a hype train, like many of us. I came on a hype train. I saw beyond the hype train though. I saw the infrastructure in the roots of Atlanta and the networking opportunities in Atlanta. Um, and I say, yeah, this I'll be here. I ain't going nowhere. But some people, they just want to hear some new thing. Some people are just always on the hype, the hype, the hype, the hype. Well, the hype moved and left Atlanta and went to Houston, right? There are certain places LA, Miami, New York will always have a hype. That hype will never, ever, ever go anywhere. Right? Um, but as far as other cities, Atlanta, Houston, that's on hype. The hype. So the hype left Atlanta, went to Houston for sure. As far as people who are just really engaged in the nightlife, but also I think there's something deeper. I'm going to unpack that deeper thing in a second. There's something deeper. There's something really cold. I'm getting ready to wake up in a second. Right? I'm gonna help you think. I'm a thinking nigga now. Right? So, nigga, Houston's hot. You got camp, you got this push, you got all this shit. And I kicked into Houston. Houston's cool. Um, to me, the experiences that I have in Houston are Houston. Atlanta's the home of Coca-Cola. Houston is Diet Coke. Charlotte is Coke Zero. That's another analogy that I had. Atlanta's Coca-Cola. Houston is Diet Coke. Atlanta's Coke Zero. Right now, you could call me maybe vain for this. I don't know, but there's certain things that speak to me when I go to certain areas and I indulge in the nightlife, right? And that's what are the people drinking, right? If I go to your city and I go to your club and I see the bitches bringing out Blanco, oh, I call that Blanco games, right? That's what I say, oh, they play Blanco games here, right? In Atlanta, it's a girl I know from California, right? She's a waitress here in Atlanta. And I remember I ordered a Blanco bottle. Now, mind you, I don't drink, okay? But I'm infamous for facilitating the fun, right? For those of my friends and the young ladies who do like to indulge in, alcohol consumption. That's not a me thing. But I'm a facilitator. What can I say? And I remember she walked up to me, she said, Blanco? You running out of money? Bitch, huh? What? Um, and that could be childish and trivial to even give a fuck about, right? But she was right in that is what that gives. People talking about, oh, that gives this, that gives that. Blanco gives, oh, their lower budget here if Blanco is more acceptable. Again, somebody might look at that and say it's stupid. I do also kind of agree it's stupid, but we're playing a stupid game going to the club anyway. So play stupid game, win stupid prize. What the fuck can I say? So I say all that to say that when I'm in Houston and I'm like, and I'm asking the prices and what's what, and I see how much cheaper it is, and okay, this isn't like Atlanta, right? Then I go to a lot of places in Houston and it's like there's cracking ass places, but then there's places that's like, right? Um, Plenty of fine ass bitches in Houston. There's also places where there's a lot lower caliber. You see what I'm saying? So just understanding Atlanta and its concentration of certain things, um, it's really unmatched. So Houston was not preferable to me, but it was cool. I fuck with Houston. I think Houston has Atlanta beat in certain categories and areas, but not enough for me to want to be there, right? Like, I'm gonna tell you what I love about Texas because I'm from the West Coast. What I love about Texas, this is Dallas, because I lived in Dallas before I moved to Atlanta for a year. Houston, Dallas, they have something like how we have on the West Coast in California and Washington, which is like mini malls, strip malls, shopping plazas. They got like all kind of shit in it. Atlanta doesn't really have that, right? Um, like Atlanta, you have Camp Creek, Atlantic Station. In California and Texas, there's like a million Camp Creeks or Atlantic Station. Like that's what the whole fucking place is. Camp Creek or Atlantic Station, right? So, I think Houston has Atlanta beat in that aspect. I really wish there would be more of those in Atlanta. They're not, but I think when it comes to the nightlife, fuck no. I don't think Houston's nightlife, it's not preferable to me, but I understand that the hype went to Houston. I get it. But my thing is that, can that be maintained? Can that be consistent? That's the question. And there's new weed laws that's been passed in Texas that I think are going to hinder that. I don't give a fuck. I don't smoke, right? But I understand that so many people are addicted and life is driven by fucking weed, that if their ability to smoke it in the nightlife is impeded upon, it's going to seriously affect the nightlife in a negative way. You see what I'm saying? I get that. Clubs closing, people are like, oh, clubs always close and they reopen with a new name in Houston. They do that every fucking where. That's not a Houston limited thing. They do that every goddamn place, bro. Everywhere they do that. But why did it close? You don't know the why. You have no fucking clue the why, most people. So things will remain to be seen. I do not think Houston has the infrastructure to support the nightlife as it has existed these past few years. And I think we're going to see a toll being taken, especially with the laws being passed. I think for sure we're going to see that. But the people who fled there and left Atlanta on the hype train to Houston, I see them scrambling and coming their ass back to Atlanta. Right? And it's funny because there was a meme that was huge for years that's saying, um, moving to Atlanta or Texas is not going to fix your problems. Because many black people, when that was so many of our plans, move to Atlanta or Texas, I moved to both. Um, but now the people who have moved to Atlanta or Texas, the new move to Atlanta or Texas is, if you move to Texas, move to Atlanta. If you move to Atlanta, move to Texas, or move back home. This shit is crazy. I'm gonna get into the depths of that though. Now I'm finna turn the corner on you niggas. Now we finna go deep. I hope y'all ready to go deep. I'm gonna go deep. Pause. I think that what some people dislike about Atlanta is the lack of white oversight. I wish I had my sound where I'd have dropped a bomb to that. I think what some people dislike about Atlanta, I'm talking about black people now, I'm not talking about any other race of people. I think what some black people dislike about Atlanta is the lack of white oversight. I think there are some black people that prefer white oversight, and they're uncomfortable in cities that don't have enough of it. That's what I think, personally. What do I mean? What was so amazing to me about Atlanta when I came here, in my first hour here, I knew I would move here and live here and make my home here. Um, I was driving, uh, my brother Knock was driving me, and we had turned into the turning lane because we didn't know where we were going, because he's from Memphis, so he's not from Atlanta. We didn't know where we were going. And we get in the turning lane, and he's pulled out his phone to use some GPS to figure out where we need to go. And a Atlanta police officer pulled up on the side of us, and he was in the car. It's the police. He in the car. He pulled over. He rolled. When he looked at it, he said, "Y'all straight? Nigga, I'm moving to Atlanta." When the police is pulling up like that, I'm used to dealing with dickhead, asshole, white police officers, right? Which Texas has plenty of too now. Plenty black cops in Texas, plenty white. I say, y'all need to come here. The lack of white oversight had much to do with my motivation to move to Atlanta. But I think it works in reverse for certain people. I think some people feel better and are more comfortable when there are white eyes not too far away, overseeing things, controlling things, in power of things. I think that that makes certain people a lot more comfortable and feel more safe. That's what I think. So I think that places like Houston feel a little bit more comfortable. There's a lot more white people in Houston, a lot more white people in power in Houston, right? I'll give you a stat. There's been 7 black mayors of Atlanta. There's been 2 black mayors of Houston. The 7 black mayors of Atlanta have run in terms consecutively for the last 52 years. For 52 years, Atlanta's had black mayors. Houston's only had 2. This is what I'm talking about when I'm saying white oversight and people's preference of it, right? Houston's very diverse, strong Latino community. I have no problem. I love, I love all black and Hispanic people. That's my preferred people, right? But as somebody who's black and white, um, you know, gonna be partial in certain instances to black culture, the overarching black culture, be it American black, Caribbean black, etc. I'm gonna have partialities. In many areas, I certainly do, right? And I've lived plenty around Latino people in living in Southern California. Atlanta is emphatically a place where I feel so at home. Um, but yeah, I think some people that white oversight, I think niggas need it. Certain people they feel like that, and they just aren't too comfortable with the fact that everybody everywhere is black. I think some people don't like that who are black people, and I think they may and not it may not even be apparent. I think it could even potentially be subconscious. And everybody not just black, everybody ain't doing their thing. They're from all over the country there. Some are college graduates, some are self-made, out the mud entrepreneurs. Some are, um, in corporate America, climbing the corporate ladder at a rapid rate and being very successful. It's so much going on here. And I just love it. And I think some people really don't like it. Or some people like it, but want to distance themselves from it because maybe it's not for them. But that's something that they need to search deep, 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 deep inside themselves about. Because, nigga, why? Why? Why is the question that we have to ask ourselves in regards to that? Why? Why? Okay. Um, that's what I had to say on this tonight. I just queued up this live. I got this new template. Definitely make sure you follow me on all platforms. If you're watching this replay on YouTube, anything like that, make sure you hit the like button, make sure to subscribe, and give me some feedback in the comments and let me know if what I'm saying is tracking to you. Let me know. It's GRLA Hebrew. Praise the Lord, I'm gone.